And finally, speaking of real deal, boy, finally we had to talk about Spider-Man, boy, Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
I would say right off the bat, Sony finally get right, boy. Well, I should say finally after 14 years since Spider-Man 2, Sony finally get right. They one of the experiments, one of the Spider-Man experiments that they was doing in the lab with Chemical X and whatnot, finally work. So, Ricardo, what is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse about?
Okay, so basically, we get to see a story from the perspective of this kid called Miles Morales. He's this young kid who goes to, not a boarding school, but starting at what is called those crossovers.
It is a boarding school. But
Right.
it's in Brooklyn where he lives,
Right.
basically. Yeah.
Right. I forget what it's called, those schools, charter schools, kind of a charter school kind of thing. These high-end, you had to do your grades good kind of thing.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, he gets caught up with a situation involving his uncle, and he have to deal with a situation. He get bite from a spider because he wanted to do something with his uncle, and then he end up getting a situation where he sees the Spider-Man, and the Spider-Man have to do a task, but the Spider-Man fails at this task, and that starts the whole situation involving the Spider-Man. Right? It's a really dark scenario, but it solves its problem. And basically, he himself now gets spider powers, and you have to deal with that going forward. And that's the story.
That is a simple.
I don't want to sell out too much spoilers involved that, but it's all involved with the Spider-Man. But from the trailers and from the promos, it involves multiple dimensions, multiple universes. The Kingpin was up to no good with some thing that's Spider-Man trying to stop, but that's the situation going forward. The story, and he becomes his Spider-Man in his own way, but he has to be trained as a Spider-Man as well, involving that plot. And that's pretty much it. Don't want to spoil too much because we'll talk about that in the review itself.
All right.
So here's the thing. So, we're going to talk about the movie itself. I want to start. I really like this movie, but I don't love this movie as other people seem to.
Really?
Yeah. I really like this movie. Really like it.
What?
But I don't love it.
Okay. That actually surprised me because I kind of love this movie. Not as much as I wanted to, which is fine. Yeah. But for what it's set out to do, I think that this is a near perfect film in my opinion. For what it's set out to do.
Yeah. It does a lot righter, but I find. Here's what I'm going to mention, and this is something I kind of know. I had a problem with the trailers. To me, this should have been an origin story on its own, and then they go to the multiverse stuff. The multiverse stuff kind of undermined it a little bit, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those because of what they do with the origin. Like the beginning has something really big happen involving a main character, and then they did, like, to me, they could have, because of that, the main arc of the main character, which is Miles, is not as strong as it could have been, in my opinion.
Oh.
That's how I feel about that. If they kept it with just two of those characters, and just that story, and they figure out a way to just have it with them, and not a multiverse stuff, I'd like this more.
All right. Okay.
That's what I feel about.
I understand, yeah.
I find this could have worked. Miles' arc wasn't as strong as it could have been. No, it was greater. Let's be clear. They did all the Spider-Man things, all the jokes, all the references. I kind of compare. You know what it's kind of comparable to? It feel like Lego Batman. It was like Lego Batman to Batman.
Oh, okay. Right.
It's good, and it's a big stand up and a big nice reference to Batman. But it didn't feel like a solid Batman story on its own. Even though it was a good Batman story, it didn't feel like a real strong Batman story on its own. Like it didn't feel like, because it wasn't, it was more homage to the franchise rather than Miles' arc itself. And Miles' arc could have been much stronger because of that. That is the reason. That is the big problem I have with it. I love the animation. I didn't have a problem with that. I actually like a lot of that, what they do with the mixing and matching of the animation. I like Kingpin. I thought I like what they do with him, but to me they could have do a different story with that, because what the central thing was, to me, the central emotional conceit of it could have been better without the multiverse stuff. The multiverse stuff kind of take away from it from me. And I find if they either here's one of the two things. Either that multiple stuff show up in a sequel, or they could have been, when others complain, well, something could have been a Netflix series. It could have been extended like 10 episodes or something, and then that could have been the situation. I get the feeling that this could have been on Netflix in that way, where it would have been in theaters. It could be a 10-episode run on Netflix, and they flesh out all our multiple stuff better.
Right.
It's still a mild story, but it just it's not as impactful because of the multiple stuff. It feels less important, in my opinion. It felt less important. That is about it.
I understand where you're coming from, right? And I would admit, yes, while I do love the film, it's not perfect. What I would say, well, let's get my gripes out of the way. For one thing, Kingpin himself had to get used to the bulky, like over the top bulky design of him.
That I didn't mind because that's an old Daredevil comic that had the Kingpin's design, and that's where they pulled it from. It wasn't like a unique design they came up with. Like,
right.
They had
was that like Frank? It has a Frank Miller kind of vibes.
It's a Frank Miller. I forget what this was, but I think it's a Frank Miller. I forget which Daredevil it was, but it was an old Daredevil story, and it basically that huge, massive Kingpin design. Because it was kind of weird, but I knew when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I know where this design came from. Like it wasn't like their original design. But yeah, Kingpin was too bulky for me. Yeah, whatever. But it was no problem.
Also, I find that you really could have just fleshed him out entirely. Like all of a sudden he's just there and he has this device and the device is doing stuff and he's aligned to other superhero to other supervillains. And like you understand, right? So you get what the motive is, like what's the plot, what's it about, but you just get like a little glimpse as to why, and then you kind of forget about it, and then later on you really ask yourself, why are you really going through all this to like, you're Kingpin, bro? Like, you're not some big sort of like genius. Sorry, you're not some kind of big supervillain that you want to rewrite reality by doing this device thing. You're the Kingpin, bro. Like, what's the real motive behind this?
And they explain it because I kind of knew what it was. Like from the beginning, I said, oh, I know what you want to do. It won't work. I get that, right? When they mention the character who says that, they do that. My thing is that they kind of justified by having this version of the Doc Ock, which I liked.
Yeah, I really like that. And all right. That spoil anything. The reveal, for that was excellent in my opinion. And there's another reveal of another character which you wouldn't spoil here. But I was like, okay, I'm loving these reveals. I was seeing like to quote a Robot Chicken, it's a twist. You know what I mean? Like I was liking that. That was a Shyamalan moment. But yeah.
But the thing is for me is that because of the Spider-Verse stuff, if it was just, even if you're doing the Spider-Verse stuff, they just bring in one more character. As I said, if it was just one character and they did that, I wouldn't have mind. But because they bring in all these extra characters and they just do it for, and I didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as I could have now. Because they just didn't do any characters. They just, we just have to solve this problem. And it's Miles' arc, but his arc wasn't as strong. And to me, they could have do that with that one extra character, or maybe even just two extra characters, because to me, they were the center of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Do I it because I don't want to spoil it, but I'm gonna spoil it. So, it's in the trailer, so whatever. Spider-Gwen, if it was just Spider-Gwen and just the alternate Peter, I would have liked that. Alone. Right. But with Noir and Penny and Porker, because they just come in just so, and they're not that relevant to the central narrative because it's just, as Spider-Verse. I mean, you just need to have the Spider-Verse. If it was just less characters, I'd enjoy this more.
Right. I understand what you mean. It kind of overwhelms the story, the real story, which is about Miles Morales. I get that. Right. But
to me, Porker, Penny Parker, and Noir could have show up in a sequel.
But I love Noir though. Like I would straight up say it. He needs his own spin-off movie though. For the time that he was on screen, and of course Nicolas Cage doing the voice, I was like, this guy needs a movie. Give him a spin-off movie, please.
It's just, to me, that doesn't gel, and like especially the scene how they introduce them, because again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but apparently Aunt May knows her shit in this world. Like she's real competent and super competent. Yeah. And they found out. I was like, they were there all the time. I was like, what? And all right. And they just bring them in just for fan service now. As I said, it's more like a Lego Batman movie more than a thing. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like.
And what I would say though, in the film's defense, Not just because well, Phil Lord and Chris Miller,
Right.
they produced it, but it's Phil Lord and Rodney Rotham actually wrote the script for this, right? So yes,
Right.
it does have a Lego Batman feel to things, right? Whereas
Yeah.
homage and trying to tell actual story and references left, right, and center and literally everywhere just spilling out of the film, right? But I think the reason why the movie feels like what they call a kitchen, like a kitchen sink movie, that like they throw everything including the kitchen sink, is because how many times have we seen this incarnation of Spider-Man over the years, over the past couple of decades, actually? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not like
That's
a Batman where you've been seeing these things from since 1989, in terms of movies. But in this case, because the 2000s, how many times have we seen the origin story? So yes, I
right.
do understand that they could have focused it on Miles because Miles is his own character anyway. But it goes into familiar territory with him being bit by a spider and him having the lady powers and all that kind of stuff. And I love the moment, the scenes, sorry, where Peter B. Parker, which I thought was cool, I called him the
Yeah.
Marvel Comics version of Spider-Man, while the previous version, that's all I'll say, was the Sony version of Spider-Man because he had the I want to say man-made spider webs, basically. That kind of thing there.
Right.
So while the Peter B.
Yeah.
Parker was a
So
like back to
actual right.
basics kind of thing there. Yeah.
Exactly. I get all of that. All that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, what I liked is I liked the multiverse stuff, but they do too much multiverse stuff and it didn't fit with the narrative particularly well. And to me, it could have a more central conceit involved now.
Right.
They could have keep more grounded, and because I don't know, like you have a lot of like Spider-Man is a big part of Spider-Man is the multiverse stuff, right? What is the Weaver and all of that bullshit, right?
Yeah,
You can
Madam
know
Web and all that stuff from the
right.
cartoons. Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, you have the Grand Weaver and all that. Well, in the comics, if you read the comics, and
Right.
that stuff just kind of throw me off personally because it's not my favorite Spider-Man. To me, what makes Spider-Man work, especially Miles, is keeping the stuff grounded on Central as a central figure. They still do that. It's not like they didn't do it, but
Yeah.
I would have liked myself to focus on it more, like instead of distracting me with all of that.
Right. Yeah, I understand. But like for me, because the trailer set it up already, I kind of came in knowing,
Right?
okay, I was gonna get to see all this stuff anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But however, though, the Miles stuff was there, right? And while it's not entirely, central to the overall story, and yeah, I would admit that if it was, it would have made for a much better film, a much more stronger film. But
especially
still,
involving a certain character. To me, when they do him and the big reveal of him, I was like, wow, they could have do that better though. Like if it was all that extra bullshit, no. But I like it. But I want to love it. And if they kept it more focus, I like it more. Like they really, you know what I like about it? You didn't have that sense of isolation involved now because it had so much characters. That was my problem. If it just had, Peter B and Miles, and then maybe Gwen, that'd be okay.
Right. Well, I keep talking about gripes and stuff, but let me just get the great out the way, right?
Right.
First off, animation. Love the animation. If this gets nominated for best animated feature, the awards, I know Lego Movie got snubbed. I still don't forgive the Academy for that. I still don't. But if this don't get nominated, boy, because I mean, Sony and their team went out of the way to make just such a vibrant, such a dynamic looking film, though. Literally every shot is just like bursting with colors and stuff. And I imagine maybe Watch Mojo, them sites might do this, like have a list of best animated movies to watch while high. This show gonna be on this list, right? Because I imagine people gonna get high to this shit and just be like, yeah, man.
Small things like all the little onomatopoeia and all the little stuff in the scenes. It wasn't even outright onomatopoeia. Like in some cases, it was just like the actual thing that they did. Yeah, that which I thought was pretty funny. It's like, oh, that is just that word. It's not like okay, they'll have an object and they'll say tonk or twack or something like that, which would be the proper onomatopoeia. No, they just like it's the thing, it's the object itself they just mentioned. So that's like a little nice little joke and a little stuff like that I love.
And there's the little things, the little details that I really like as well. Not just in the animation, but in the jokes, in the references, and all that kind of stuff. I love the kind of pop art style of things where you will look at a shot and you'll swear like you see little dots, when you look at old comics, that kind of feel. So I love that. The animation is top notch in my opinion. Voice acting top notch as well.
It is
Shamik
good.
Moore, who I
Yeah.
remember from that show that people didn't want to watch on Netflix, The Get Down, who played
Yeah.
Sheldon Fantastic. He was excellent in this. I don't know how
Yeah.
they got his voice to sound young because he like
Yeah.
23 or thereabout, but
No,
Miles
it's
like
fine.
what?
No, it's
15
fine.
or whatever? Yeah.
My boy Paperboy, yeah, Paperboy the father is great.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. Yeah, 'cause I was picking up on the voice because I didn't
right,
realize it
yeah,
was him till the end credits. Like, oh right, he was playing the.
yeah,
Oh right. Jake Johnson, who plays Peter
yeah,
B. Parker, great,
yeah,
great performance there. Healy Steinfeld, not a huge
yeah,
fan of her, especially her music. No offense, but she was great as Gwen Stacy.
yeah.
We boy Mahershala Ali,
After
sorry, who plays the uncle of Miles. Um,
Aaron, yeah.
yeah, like Liev Schreiber, who plays Kingpin, great as
Yeah, he's
well.
good.
Yeah, didn't know McGill Kimiko Glenn was playing Penny Parker. Not surprising, Asian
Right.
American, all that kind of stuff. Nicolas Cage, standout performance in my opinion. He needs his own spin-off movie. I've seen that again. So yeah, the voice acting is on point. The music, I love the music for this though. The use of hip hop, like if you tell
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then again, it's Sony, so you kind of expect it, right? But I never
Right.
believed in a million years I'll be hearing Hypnotize from Notorious
You know?
B.I.G. in a PG rated Spider-Man movie. And I was like, they actually let this line slide if they had right Biggie there every night. I was like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That you let that line slide. I was like, all right, cool, nice. I love there's this specific sort of, I don't want to call it a medley, if you will. I don't want to call it that, but they basically take this famous hip hop sample, Apache, and they mix it with
Right.
Black Sheep's The Choice Is Yours, this or that. The way how they
Yeah.
mixed in that though, and for that scene, I was like, all right, all right, all right. I love this, right? And yes, the soundtrack is out right now, and I am dying to listen to this thing. Like, I actually have it on me right now, but just from what I hear, I heard Juice WRLD, who I'm not a big fan of, but the song that he was in was cool. That Post Malone and Sweetie song is dope.
Yeah.
Gene Smith do a song, it was actually dope. Um, who else is it? Lil Wayne, just your big name hip hop artists are on this album though, and I really can't wait to hear it. I mean, I think this could be like Sony's answer to the Black Panther soundtrack. By the way,
Right.
yes, which by the way is nominated for a few Grammys. I mean, that's amazing. Even
Right.
Song of the Year, All These Stars, well deserved. I would say that much. Um,
Yeah.
there's even a shot with with Spider-Man on top of one of the on one of these gargoyles, and it really looks like the poster or one of the posters
For sure.
for Black Panther. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, yeah. I even like the little references to to other references to music, like you were seeing Chance Rapper's coloring book poster
But in the
album
background,
cover.
yeah.
But instead
Yeah,
of
yeah.
three, they had a four, and you even see oh gosh, your boy The Weeknd. They do a version of Starboy, but they merged Starboy with Kissland, so it was. I
Right,
forget what
remember
the name of
it's
it was, but I
parallel
was like, all
universe,
right, that's
right?
dope.
So it's like
That's
remember
yeah,
it's a parallel universe too now. So it's like it's not our universe because little things in their universe, like PDNY, for example.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
there's all these little
And
different
Fed XX or some kind of thing that they had,
right.
some kind of thing. So yeah. So
Yeah.
I love I love the world building in this. I love the character design, just from a visual standpoint, from even sound design and all, it works, right? Now narratively, like I was worried that they were gonna try a little bit too hard to be real, like the moments with Miles talking to his dad and his uncle and his mom. I
Yeah.
also like the fact that he's Afro and well he's black and Puerto Rican, so I thought that was great.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that it was great that the film had tried a little bit too hard to make them feel too real now, like you have these real life conversations. Obviously,
No,
pointed
yeah.
as real
I,
actors,
I,
but
I I was happy with what having him be like generally dorky and get in trouble with school and
yeah,
all this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
That's fine. I thought it
yeah,
was
yeah,
perfect. What they did that.
yeah.
And
But
I thought the movie needed more Genki. I thought they would have a little more Genki in it. That is his
right.
roommate. This is
Yeah,
why
yeah, because he was just there for like a few scenes and then he just left. But yeah,
right.
but those moments with them talking, I thought actually worked as well. It's not just there to be like, oh, well, we're gonna be this mature cartoon now, you know what I mean? And this is for the adults. No, it actually adds a lot to the story as well, especially
Right.
with the dramatic moments that we get. And yes, there are quite a few dramatic moments in this. some moments that really hit you like emotionally, like gut punches, and some moments that really, really heartbreaking, and some just will make you go like, oh, that was really nice. You know what I mean? So it is very emotional, but not too emotional that it takes away from the overall fun and enjoyment of it. Now, yes, Ricardo, I do understand when you say that Miles' story should have been front and center, but
Yeah.
I was thinking because you want to, be
It
this
was still, it
pop
was still
culture
front and
tribute
center, you know.
of Spider-Man. You just want to throw everything as much as you can. So
Right.
yes, you've seen the origin story before, but here's the gimmick. Now we're gonna see more Spider-Man characters, and Spider-Man Noir, and now you have Penny Parker and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you're right, though. Yes, he is front and center, and maybe maybe if I look at it again, I would admit that yes, it kinda like his origin story kinda gets overwhelmed by all the other stuff and all the flashiness,
Yeah.
right? But this is like the rare occurrence where style and substance kind of works together. Not
Yeah.
It's not like one kind of tends to overpower the other, especially with the style, because yes, this movie is stylish from the intro, from the Sony logo, which I was loving it. I was loving that opening credit and all too. Just everything about it is just so incredibly stylish. I think it adds a lot to the film, but there are a couple of moments where it feels like it's a little too heavy on style, but I kind of let it slide because it's experience then, especially like if you watch it in 3D like I did. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it is part of this experience. So yes, all these flashy visuals and colors in your face, but it adds a lot to the film. It really makes this thing different. I think this is really what the goal of the movie was, to just be so stylistically different that you would just kind of be like, all right, well, yeah, I could rank this among one of the best Spider-Man movies, even though
Oh, definitely.
technically it's
Yeah.
not full 100% Spider-Man, if it gets with drift, but it pays so much tribute to Spider-Man, whereas to the point where it's like, well, yeah, and you have the Miles Morales story in backwards. So like, you know what? Yeah, it's a Spider-Man movie, and also finally I'll say because it's animated as well, so they could get to do so much more than that the TV series ever did. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I love the style, I love the substance in it. It's not a perfect movie, mind you. So by the way, before I forget, the end credit scene when all the credits roll,
That's amazing.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
That
Love
was
that.
amazing.
I was in stitches with that, dude. That was pure genius. I love that.
Yeah.
And it was so smart too because you think, oh, they're gonna hint at a sequel, and they kind of do, but no, it is gonna kind of throw you off guard with this moment, and this
Yeah.
how the
So
ending
for
was just brilliant for me.
yeah, that post credit scene was brilliant. I thought that was great and hilarious on its own. But for
Yeah,
me, as I say, it really still had that Sony stamp on it of trying to put too much bullshit in this.
yeah,
Even though the
it's
bullshit,
a Sony movie, true, true. Even right down to, oh
even
gosh, man.
even
So the headphones had to be Sony.
is
My headphones had to be Sony. Like, but
no,
yeah,
but even though it's bullshit for the fans, it still had too much bullshit that to me held back the narrative. I find if they had a more, it didn't feel as focused as it could have been, and a lot of stuff got rushed. Like to me, I'd have it where it more focusing on Miles in the school. We'd see more Ganky. Then you do the Parker stuff because you're still doing multiverse, but not too much multiverse. That was my problem.
right, right.
Um, that was my thing. I don't mind the multiverse stuff, so you get to see the alternate Peter stuff. I like that. Even the Gwen Stacy stuff I was enjoying. But they could have do that better.
Yeah, they could.
Because
I'd admit they could have done a little bit more with Gwen's character, like the relationship between her and Miles. They could have done a little bit more with that. You
but
know what
I thought it was gonna do show the two Gwens, but I realized no, it's the same Gwen. Because I thought it would have been like the Gwen without powers and then the Gwen with powers.
that would have been great though. That would have been great if they
That
did
would
that.
have
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that
I
would have
kind
been
of pick
interesting.
up then that yeah, they're not gonna do that because that might just confuse people. I mean, they did it with Peter already. Slight
Exactly.
spoiler, but it's Peter Parker, so okay. But Gwen, yeah, all right. That might throw people off
I
a little too much, you know.
Right. I don't know. I would have preferred. I would have liked to see that and his relationship. Whatever. Small thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
and
This.
last thing I want to say too before I forget, I like that. Yes, there are tons and tons and tons of references to Spider-Man
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it's
Tons.
not that I have to remember every single thing. Some stuff flew past me, but the movie doesn't stop to say this is what this scene meant or this is what this
No.
reference
No. No.
meant. It's like no, you pick up on it.
It doesn't.
You didn't find whatever. Move on. It not gonna
Right.
spoil the story for you. Moving on.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
had some good scenes, like the Stanley scene. I liked. That was
Yes.
pretty
Love
good.
that. Love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. But I don't know. They could have do more with this. What I should say is that I like it a lot, but they should have trimmed some of the fat. Some fat could have been trimmed. I'd like it a little more streamlined. Either that, or you give us a series. You do the series thing, the way you flesh this out more in a full arc, so you could justify why this Spider-Verse thing. So, like, if it was 10 episodes on Netflix, that could have worked now. You have to flesh out all the multiverse stuff. Not too much multiverse, it's the same story, but you fleshed out a little more, even like a 6 episodes or something like that.
But what I would say though, that because of how how successful this movie is, and people are literally begging for sequels, then they could explore this multiverse even further, right?
Right.
Yeah.
As I said, but the good strongly outweighs the bad. I still give it a very high score. But I would like the fat to have been trimmed. For the most part, but I still give it a very high score. The post-credit scene with Miguel O'Hara is amazing. I love that. But I don't know. It was just bugging me why I wasn't liking this as much as other people are, and that is the reason, because it doesn't stream the narrative of Miles, and his arc could have been stronger. Right. It wasn't strong because it was diluted a little bit by how it was told. To me, at least for me. Right. And so to me, the final scene when he actually became Spider-Man and he jumped up the building at the upside down shot and all of that shot, that wasn't as impactful as it could have been for me, because of what's going on. It's like,
I understand the journey to get there could have been fleshed out a lot better. I understand. Right.
And then something involving another character that wasn't as strong emotionally either. In the context of the story, because because you had it thinking in two different, it created a dissonance for me now. Because had they thinking about the multiverse stuff and this stuff, and it's like, no, they could have keep it more focused into one world now. Whatever. Right. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I still give it. What would you give this?
Yeah, I get this one at IMAX. Still a solid IMAX, not the highest of IMAXs, but still a solid IMAX, because the good outweighs the bad. Like, the bad I have is stuff that more bothers me personally. But I give it I still give it a good score, because everything they do well, they do right. Like, holy shit, when's the last time I see Avi Arad name on a good Spider-Man production?
I know, right?
Shocking, whatever. Sony actually put out something. So Sony actually have leverage with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man do good for critics and Venom did good for the box office. Wow, look at that, Sony. You pull it out here.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. But like I said at the very beginning, this is a Sony experiment that actually works though. It works. They are perfect in my opinion, and for me, I would say right off the bat that this is the best animated movie of 2018. This is coming from somebody who actually really enjoyed Ralph Breaks the Internet, but like I wanted to put that on my top 10 list, but nah, boy, that spot definitely had to go to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is in my top 10 for sure, just for how much I enjoyed it, and just for the ambition and what they set out to do. And for the most part, they really succeed with this though. It's not perfect, but you'll be hard pressed to not enjoy it or not find something in it to really appreciate it. It really feels like a labor of love. Like, these people, like the crew behind the scenes really love this character, really pay respect it. But yes, it could be a little bit heavy on style, because yes, the style is very, very much in your face, but it's a unique take on Spider-Man, something you've never seen before, and they pull it off, great about they pull it off very, 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 very well in my opinion. So for me, this gets a strong 4 out of 5. This is going to be in the top 10 for sure. Not a top 5, but this is going to be top 10 for sure. This is the best animated movie of 2018. If it gets nominated for something in the awards, in the Academy Awards, next year, like for best animated feature, cool. And I expected this thing to get nominated for some song or whatever it is. Like what, Post Malone and Sweetie got get nominated for Oscar. And then again, weirder things have happened before, so I don't know. But yeah, hands down, one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen. I would say this ranks second place. First one, of course, being Spider-Man 2, and third one, Heat More Love with it, Spider-Man Homecoming. Everything else can just come after that. Well, all right, the fourth one could be the first Spider-Man movie, and the other movies could just suck salt. I don't care for them.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I still rank it quite high in the Spider-Man general mythos and the material. It's still very good, but it just bothered me it just felt like Miles' arc was a little diluted in this, and I was worried from it for the trailer, and that is exactly what happened for me in the film. I didn't hate it at all. In fact, I actually like this a lot, but it could have some of the big emotional moments was not strong. Could have been stronger, and it was not strong. Because of that, in my opinion. That's how I feel.
Right.
That's it. So
yeah. Okay.